All right, let's go. I'm looking to see. I think we are live, even though I said we weren't gonna go live. I thought it was just recorded. Shouts out to everybody who's checking in on Community Beacon. It is May 22nd, 2026. I don't something new. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Seville, of course. On the other side of the screen, we got my brother from another mother, the Joel Simmons. Um,
What's going on, everybody? I am glad to be here with Mike one more time in the brand new Community Beacon. You see it first right now. The rebranding is going down, and I'm super excited about it. You all ought to see how we work together. It's like this crazy way of just this finesse and work. I mean, sometimes a man doesn't even know what the other man is up to or doing. However, I'm gonna use this word vibe. I'm gonna use this word vibe, Mike.
wait a minute.
I'm gonna use this word vibe.
This is new. What?
Gosh. Oh my
The what?
gosh.
What is it?
Oh man. Sometimes we just simply vibe and we hit the same frequency. And I don't know about Mike. He'll tell you after I say this, he'll tell you his point of view. But I'm gonna tell you something and I'm gonna give you my background. All right. I'm gonna give you my background on this philosophy, on this thought process, because I don't have to, but I will anyway, because that's what we do when we're talking, right? All right. So sometimes when I'm doing something like that, like I'm bringing a new concept and I literally have not spoken with Mike, but it's like it's about to show up in like 5 minutes. So like I got to drop this thing, explain it, and then we got to go live. And it's just like, boom. Okay, there it is. Sometimes because of my respect, I'll be like, oh my gosh, man, I just realized that I've gone a whole week or 2 weeks. I haven't talked about this thing. I'm about to drop it. I wonder how the brother's going to take this information. What is he going to do with it? What's going to be the response? What's going to be the reaction? You know, I know after being with him for so long that whatever it is, we're going to work through it. But that doesn't mean I'm empathic. I feel things. So that doesn't mean that he's not necessarily, I'm not going to say upset or angry, but it doesn't mean that there isn't like a disturbance in the force, if you will. It doesn't mean that there's not a disturbance in the force, you know, and we always move through it. So today I'm just exposing that no matter what it is, we always seem to just vibe right straight through it. And I love that.
That's dope, brother. Um, what do you think that is? Like, why do you think that is? As far as because we've been doing this for almost. I was going back and looking since like 2021, probably the end of 2020, really. So the end of 2020, we're now in 2026. Only missing like a handful of shows. When I mean it's just a handful of shows. When we tend to miss, it's like it's weird, kind of. It's like, whoa, we did do Community Beacon for a week too. Like, what is this about? Because we're very good at getting together and putting the logistics together. But why do you think that is? Even the hesitancy part of presenting the information, doing it this long, right? And I think I'd love to hear what your thoughts surrounding that.
Let me speak to the hesitancy part.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I'm speaking for me and you, so now you have opportunity to correct me. I don't think that you and I are doing any hesitancy. No, I don't see it. Now, maybe there's something else. I see it as we are high performing individuals. We prioritize things. And I'm not saying that all of you out there in the community beacon world, I'm just saying that sometimes our priority list starts to hit like this. And as we're knocking those things back off, because your priority list is always it should be flexible. It should always be changing. Granted, if you're adding things to the list. If you're not adding things to the list, it should be like a pillar of life. But because life is always moving, it's moving. So there's going to be some adjustments from time to time and maybe more frequently depending on how you maneuver in life. So I don't see it as there being hesitancy. You know, there could be a concern in like my system. Like, and I know for me, I've been working on my system of doing
Talk about
things.
that too. That's deep. I'd love to hear about that, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, and so that would be my preferred language is that maybe there's some opportunities for me to adjust my system and how I'm approaching different priorities, how I'm moving forward in life. And if
Okay.
that was the case, then at that point in time, yeah, it would pop up because it would mean that, okay, I need to do A, B, C, D. Thank you. A, B, C, D. And now E just presented itself, and E now has become A or B, and the scale needs to slide down. I need to readjust, which should trigger phone call, text message, email, right? And so I believe that we are doing a really good job at being more and more communicative when it comes down to this, and that we just need to continue to finesse the system. Because if we're finessing the system, which means that there's not a habit behind the system, right? Because we're finessing it. We've introduced a new system and now we are creating a habit. And so this is this is my thought process behind it
Yeah.
is that it's not about hesitancy. It's about just perfecting the system that will allow us to be able to communicate more effectively and efficiently when the time comes up. But the bottom line is that when we see each other face to face, the love, the respect, right? These things began to radiate much, much larger than the circumstance. And when that happens, circumstances are swallowed up. And I think that that is dope. That is something for somebody right there in all of the world to take into consideration. And before you answer this, I want to give you one little example of when this went wrong. All right. Let's go back 2020 2005. No. 1999, 98, 99. There was an individual that I hung out with, a group of individuals. I used to go out around like 12, 1, or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd walk a few miles and I'd meet these guys inside the garage. None but bad things are happening there as the smoke lifts to the ceiling, if y'all understand what I'm saying. So now we are like, we're like coming together and joining forces and whatnots. What ends up happening in that moment, in that time frame, is that we began to move out in one vehicle, in one pace, every single time. And we're doing things. One day, one of the individuals and I make an agreement to do something. When we make that agreement, he violates. When I see him next, I approach him and I'm like, "You violated." He's like, "It is what it is."
Mm.
Nah, it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Needless to say, the two of us are wrapped up, tangled up from one end of the building to the next end of the building until somebody rips us apart and puts us separately, right? What's my point? Where am I coming from? What I'm saying is, in that day, in that frame of mind, the friendship that we had created, even though it may have been with negative results, it was still a friendship that we had developed. It was not worth the one agreement. And that agreement that we had was something that was tangible. It was simple. Y'all, honestly, it was worth $5. That's it. The broken agreement was worth $5. And so at the end of the day, I chose $5 over our friendship. Now, doesn't mean that he could have still gone and done XYZ, whatever, and gone down that road that many people will say, yo, he disrespected you. Da, 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 da. Yeah, he could have. Maybe. Or maybe it was just an oversight, you know? Maybe it wasn't really that big of a deal. Maybe if I had thought about it, he had done something for me of a value of $5 or $10 multiple times. Maybe there was other mindset, but the bottom line is that I chose to make that my last straw. And because of that, I lost a friend. And then I also started a war between me and them. I became an outcast, and wherever I went, then at that point in time, I had to watch my back. Wherever he went, he had to watch his back. $5. I also was suspended from the school. What happened was just gigantic. So when I'm telling you that Mike and I can come in here, and though there may be a disturbance in the force, our love, our compassion, our respect always has outweighed whatever the tangible thing is. Because Mike and I can take CB, love you guys, but can take CB as long as him and I are still together. And I think that that is the essence of the message that I'm delivering right now.
I'm still thinking about you getting into an altercation with the brother. I'm still getting you to. I think a lot of so, and this has happened in 1998. I think there's a lot of living that happened right since then. I would imagine. It sounds like there's been a lot of living that happened since then. A lot of growth. Sounds like a lot of growth that's probably happened since then. But even then, there were expectations that were, and when I say expectations, it's not not undercover expectations. I think we often do that to ourselves where we kind of expect a person to do certain things or be a certain kind of way, and they may not necessarily know or understand that the expectation is there. But once you start to become a man, and this is something I try to teach Elijah, like that's that whole word is bond thing. Like I think we learned that really, really early. Now, how much a lot of us tend to embody that or really take it to heart, one to each person their own, right? However, for me, that's something what you just mentioned there as well is like I used to take a lot of those things to heart. We got a certain expectation, we've made an agreement, and it's like when you start to sway from it, I was super rigid in that way. So so sometimes it can be, you know, it can kind of go against you as well when you don't give people grace. So you get a
Mm,
chance that as we get older, we get a chance that give grace. But I think at that time, like it's exactly what it needed to be. This is our agreement. This is the expectation, and I'm totally expecting you to be that way. Whether it's over $5, and I imagine, like, when I'm in high school, $5 in high school might as well have been $500 at times if I wasn't working or if I wasn't doing something. So
yeah.
it ne more so than the money, right? We often make it about the money. We could, right? We can easily rationalize that within our brains, but more so it's like, "I'm hurt." Oh, man, I had a conversation with somebody about that before. Like, that hurt me, right? And then when you start to think about your experience in life, this is super deep, and you start to look at because how a lot of the ways that we react come from our parental figures, whatever that is,
Mm,
and we start to see what they did, or if, at some point in time, and oftentimes to no fault of their own, right? Like mom left me in the crib. I got hungry, I cried. She probably was on the other side of the house, didn't hear me, or probably was resting or whatever it was. And then we start to say, "Oh, right, that's like the beginning of a lot of trust issues and abandonment issues." Not, much less as we get older and we start to embody that. That gets a little bit deeper. But like
mhm.
I said, we take those things, and initially a lot of these things do tend to be rigid. Like I look back on those times and I'm like, man, I remember one person asked me for grace. Like, like, is there no grace? And I was like, nope. you know?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, like
No grace. No.
there was no grace. It was like, I'm ready to burn this bridge right now because
Ah!
like
Set it on
I
fire and walk
yeah,
away.
right, and I go back and think about that, I'm just like, "Man, that was tough," right? I don't but
Hey,
I still
the
don't.
Joker scene, Mike. The
What
Joker
was that? When he
scene.
set the money on fire?
No, when he hits the button and the
Oh.
whole building blows up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. But you mentioned something else. A couple things that you mentioned. One was respect. That's huge. That's really big in this world. Like to have that sort of respect for somebody else, your counterpart, anybody, just a human being, in that kind of way. So to have it with respect, not, and this is not for you to become abused by these different things. Even when I speak on grace or compassion or whatever, like these boundaries, but respect goes a long way. My mother used to say that a lot.
Mhm.
And I would you mentioned love. That was what I was thinking. I don't it's pretty hard for you to start to build resentment, hate, anger, or whatever if you come to things with like an open heart. And for me, sometimes I have to intentionally remind myself, right? You because sometimes people are intentionally wanting whatever way it is. But because I have the awareness of it, like I have the awareness, like why are they, it is really not about me. Like that's really what it came down to at times. That helps with the open heart things. Like this person's reaction is really not about me. Like for me to believe that this person is attempting to do this because of Mike Seville and not a lot of
Mm.
the things of how they were socialized and how they grew up or whatever experiences that they had and how they relate to those things. I'm the last thing on the mind. I'm like this. I told someone once. I was like, this situation happened before me, before I got here, and it'll probably be here long after after I'm gone. Right? It's just this person has these thoughts or whatever it is, so I can come to it with an open heart and just look at that person and say, I really don't like whatever they said before. Like you hear stuff through the grapevine or whatever it is. I'm just like, okay, well, let's see how this is when I approach this with an open heart. Not only approach this with an open heart, I would add to everything that you said was like the presence of it. So when you and I start, whatever may have happened as far as logistics, miss shows, or whatever it is, it's like, okay, when we get there, like there's presence, like I'm accepting this brother, I'm seeing this brother, I'm understanding, hoping to get as much understanding as possible. I'm asking questions. I'm just trying to get to like the heart of the matter. Like what is this about? That's a part of this presence. Um and this is not for me to self-abandon, right? That because we can do that as well, where where we
Mm.
show up and we kind of abandon our some of our feelings that we have around this thing, or even it could be principles that you have around this thing. It could be logistically makes sense. Like you can rationalize this thing, you can reason about this thing, and that person, whoever it is, and I know we're talking about Joe, but I want to speak to everybody. They can be legitimately wrong, right? I'm not
Mhm.
talking to the brother, but I'm talking about the person sitting in front of
Mhm.
me. This person could be wrong, and I could have all of the facts to back it up because I wrote it out and I made a list on it, right? Like, my favorite thing asking people, like, "Am I tripping? Like, like, am I not, like, am I, or rather, am I missing?" When I say that, am I missing something here? And someone will be like, "Nah, this is essentially correct according to or accurate or whatever. Accurate. I prefer that." And I still show up with presence and an open heart with that person. How like what happens then when you and when I say open heart, when you're looking into somebody's eyes, I did like and you just looking at them. I remember a conversation me and my father had, and I'm just looking at him and we're having a conversation. He's talking about his past or something. And my father, who's double my age, almost double my age, was just like, I'm like, oh, I could just see the vulnerability of this man. Like he's like
Mm.
this is a man I'm talking to. This is a human being. This is a person. Like it's not, sometimes we can look at our parents and be like, these people are just this, right? We could all, come to a point where and there's nothing wrong with like celebrating your parents or putting them, where you want to put them. But when you say, man, this is my father, like, yeah, okay, right? Or this is my mother, like, hmm. Look at my age now. I'm thinking about my mother when she was my age and she's raising 4 kids and going to work and doing all this stuff. And like the what she had to endure so that and because we didn't know necessarily about it, right? Like we knew she had hardships, but I didn't know everything. Now I'm 40, I'm just like, whoa, that's some stuff to carry. Just like my father. Oh man, that's some stuff to carry. Like he carried that. He's here. And he's and there's and we're having this conversation. We have the presence of mind and respect for each other, even if we don't agree, even if we don't align, to be open with it and just say, like this is like I see you, right? And I'll transition with that point. That's a dope intersection to where I was thinking, I was like, a lot of people, their biggest want is to be actually seen,
Come on, man. Come
like
on.
flaws and all, like goofiness and silliness and like you're still it's hard to explain it to like your child, but you be like, I don't really. I think Jim said it one time. Jim was like, he just turned 89. Happy birthday to Jim. He celebrated his birthday on Friday, and he says, I don't feel 89. Like I don't like I am 89, but I don't see it. My father said the same thing. He's 70 something. He's like, I don't it doesn't compute. Like until you step off the bed wrong or you stretch too the wrong way. That'll
I
that
felt that
might
at 46.
right? That'll remind you of your age, but it's like because we tend to go through life, but most people don't get a chance to. I'm telling you, like people don't get a chance for people like to really see them. Not only just see them, but see them and hold and accept them for who they are and just be with them, right? Whatever is going on for that to happen. So when you can step into the place and actually do that for somebody, if you even have the capabilities to do that, right? I think that the capacity plays a major role into it as well. But for us to be able to hold and see each other on this basis, I think that's what for Joel and I, like that's what makes this 6 years and running. Because I think for most people, after 6 months to a year, it's like, yeah, it is just whatever, whatever. I got this going on, I got that going on. Because we're all actually we have high output is what I would call it. Whatever that is for whatever that it means to anybody. Like, and I think but there's high output. and we have higher and a certain standard of life, a way of doing life. But when we show up and you can have that conversation and you can have some of the I I don't even think they're really tough conversations between Joel and I. I think they're tougher when when if someone else was to do it, it'd be a tough conversation for them, right? Like,
Mm.
but I think like it gets to a point where it's just like this is that, and the brother's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Or he sees me, he's like, oh man, Mike is on one. Mike is on one of his things. Okay. And if I see Joel, he's like, boy, my energy ain't there. Like I'm not. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes both our energies aren't there. And we're just like, I get it. Let's not be performative or fake it. This is happening, you know what I mean? But to have those conversations and not try to change nobody. Like I'm not trying to change Joe if he's feeling a certain kind of way. Like that's not no. Hey, I see you, brother. And I think he kind of says it. Today he told me, he's like, brother, have I told you I loved you today? I was like, I said, nah, brother, you don't even really have to say it. He's like, I'm gonna say it. Well, I'm gonna say it anyways, right? But the thought process is like it regardless of the situation, regardless of whatever it is, it's like that love is there. There's an open-heartedness to it. That's that, right? Go ahead, brother.
That's dope. That's about close. That's about as close as speechless as I'm going to be right now. You know, I'm going to tell you something. I'm actually pushing some words out. Mm. This conversation is so good on so many levels, right? So good on so many levels. I'll start with this piece in response. A man can't ask for man can ask for whatever he wants. But out of the things that I believe a man should have a solid circle, and whether he calls them his friends or his brothers, that's fire. This world has a way of eating a person up. And just spitting out of the back end whatever. The entanglement that this world has is ridiculous. And with time and technology, that entanglement grows stronger. So I preface it as a man in the beginning, but I flowed into a person. As a man, my philosophy, God, myself, wife, children, circle. And it's like those 5 components of life, I believe will dictate or are a part of the ingredients that dictates what a man will be today, tomorrow, and next whatever. It's going to be the choices and the decisions that are made with, for, and in agreement. There's a book that's written that talks about how you are basically a component of the people, the 5 people that you hang around the most. I think that's a little bit inaccurate, but it's accurate because I would include the entity. For me, God, which I reach God through my prayers, through my study, through my experience, through my environment. And I can go deeper than that, but I will call those the surface level modalities of reaching God. And we could go deeper, but I think that those 4 people would understand. And then there is myself. This love that you're talking about is so high level because we're talking about having grace, holding space, giving respect. And mind you, when we give respect does not mean that we are allotted respect in return or primarily. This is a grace that we bestow on others. That doesn't mean that you receive anything in return. And it doesn't mean that it has to, that it must arrive first. love. And it's like, what is love? My grandfather, before he passed away, God rest his soul, the great Deacon J. Parham, he asked me for almost a year, maybe two. He said, "What is love?" And I started saying something. He said, he had just heard me speak, heard me preach. That was a converting sermon right there. His whole life changed from there. I thank God that I was able to be used in that moment. Now, I will forever remember who he was before that day and who he was after that day. And I'm sure that this is only one milestone, but it took me like a couple of years before I actually went to his house while he was on his deathbed. And I just began to speak to him about love. And he said, "That's it." He said, "I'm good. That's it." Love has such a unique power, according to, what I believe. And Mike, you may share this with me, but I believe that love is like the highest form. It's form of God. And so when we talk about loving somebody, what you said makes all the sense because love doesn't require anything. Love is a flowing river that never has an end. Love is like the distance that an eye can see through space. As it rises to meet each star, there is yet another light year to travel because it's eternal, internal, infinite, without bounds. When we commit ourselves to something like that, there is acceptance, there is freedom, there is joy. The types of thoughts that went through my mind while you were speaking hit such a level, as I would say, it cracked a rock. I thought about my daughter. I thought about my father. I thought about my wife. There's a song, and in the simplest of words, it explains it all. What you won't do, you do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up. It's for you, bro. Magnificent, magnificent word use. Magnificent. I thank you.
Man. Yeah, bro. And I think a couple of there's some episodes ago, and it was like, well, you know, and I was listening to somebody, and now I get it. It just it sounded good, but it didn't land. Like, and you just landed that plane because it's this person specifically used a quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son," and the way it was kind of explained at the time, and it was needed. Everything is needed, right? It was like you're willing to do that, but it just doesn't stop there, right? Because it's just that love is. I think we kind of get it. This is the thing about holding and someone regardless of whatever it is. And once again, this is not an invitation for someone to abuse you, to disrespect you, or whatever it is that allows you not to be okay with yourself. That's what I think that should be said, right? Whatever somebody else does that doesn't allow you to be okay with yourself, I'm not telling you to stick around for this quote unquote thing, but it doesn't necessarily have to come back, and it doesn't necessarily have to come back the way that you believe it needs to come back. Like you mentioned the respect, like this is a part of the things that we're doing as part of grace. I'm not. I'm just. I'm giving it. You know what I mean? And it's endless and it's boundless. But for me to expect it back from you, then that kind of takes away from this gift that I'm given, right? So it's almost like to give with no recompense. I get,
Expectancy of
yeah,
return.
yeah. Like there's like to not necessarily expect it or whatever. If I get it, I'm sure it makes it even more special. But when you speak on just this love, when you can just sit there in that, no one can take. It's almost like something that you can't really give. It's just
Mm.
you accessing it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like when you think about it, right? Like it's similar to energy, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It just what is it? It just you can transfer it essentially. But with love, with respect, with presence, it's like we can access it. And when we access it in that moment, regardless of whatever the other person has going on, right? Like, oh man, like of course we want the best for this person, whatever that may be, right? But it's just like, but I'm still in connection with you. Yeah, you okay? You don't like me today. Paul said it. Paul said the other day. What did
What
I
did
take?
Paul
Yeah,
say? The
I,
little 3-foot genius.
Paul
Please
might
tell
be.
me.
He got to be one of the most self-aware kids. You're right. Like the things that he says, he's just so self-aware, especially surrounding his feelings and his emotions, and allowing him to do it. But I think I didn't do something for him. I think, oh, I didn't charge. He wanted to use a phone or to play games on the phone or watch YouTube, and I'm like, no, I'm not, you can't use it. You know what I mean? You've been on it enough. That's enough. And he says, man, and this is how you got to kind of treat people too, right? He's like, man, I hate daddy. He's like, I hate daddy because he didn't charge the phone. And I'm like, and it's easy, like when we do it for this kid. It's another thing about holding or just watching. Like if most people don't even get like an eye contact, like a
Mm.
long for extended periods of time. Once they're no longer like these young kids, right? Like remember the last time like you just look at a baby, you can just look at a baby. Like it doesn't come, you don't feel anything about it. It's like, man, this is just this bundle of joy kind of deal. And I looked at Paul. I'm just like, listen to this little man say what he hates. So what I tend to do is I try to let him describe what that feeling is. Like, well, is it hate? Really? Like, is that hate or or is it more so angry? I'm angry because I like him to like fit, identify what it is. But just walking him through it and through this entire thing, like it didn't even pierce me in any kind of way, right? Like it doesn't because I'm looking at this. It's easier for me to reflect on a child in that kind of way. For whatever reason, and you mentioned it, brother, like what life does to us through time, through resistance or whatever, we start to believe, and rightfully so, when you're in front of an adult, so to speak, like this person really means this thing. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like this is really the way this is, when we don't even know to the extent of how aware this person is of their feelings or not. And you and I would know, because we've been doing this for 5 to 6 years. We've been exploring it. At the Probably at the beginning of this community beacon, I was just like, man, to heck with feelings. For whatever reason, most men, we tend to believe that we're just purely logical. And when people tell me that, like, yeah, I'm just purely logical, I'm just like, yeah, me too. You're right. Like you you met the right one. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
you you're
gosh.
you're you're meeting the right one. You know what I mean? Like if a person has an ability to numb themselves through emotions, come talk to Mike Seville. I can write a whole lesson plan on how to numb yourself through emotions and or intellect or whatever it is, or believe that we're making this logical decision, and kind of just tucking that thing away. Let me just tuck this feeling away. It's not useful to me right now. Like it's not gonna get this thing done. But it's there, right? And now we've just watched Inside Out 2. He's into Inside Out 2. Have you watched that Disney
I
movie?
I haven't seen part 2.
Okay, well, part one is similar. Like, so it talks about like these different things that are actually going on. I think personally, from all my studies and work, it does a pretty good job of how it comes to it's telling the story. So when like, you can't just throw these things away. It shows up some kind of way, and I think maybe we'll go into that. I definitely know I'm going to do an entire video on like the sign language, right? Shame, insults, guilt, the need to be right, made largely popular. And I have some insight on it now, a different kind of perspective on, especially in regards to shame and us and how we compartmentalize our feelings. And I want to really go deep into that and how it actually ends up giving you the same negative result that you're attempting to run away from, right? But long story short, I digress, is to get back to this thing about like actually seeing somebody for whatever it is, just like with my father, right? Bulls in a china shop towards the end of when I turned 17, 18, because I knew everything. But then when I became a man and extended grace and compassion, and most importantly, access this love and the ability to see him the way he is, man, the conversations that we have now are just a different level, right? Like, I was telling my cousin the other day, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't know what my dad is doing. I think he's like sitting in Jamaica like a monk now. He's just like just one with everything, and then we get on the phone, and he's just like the conversation we have is just a different kind of conversations. I can't speak to his change and what he did. I can definitely speak for mine's, and just doing the work and being able to see this person, regardless of whether he's 60, 70 years old, right? Regardless of the age, regardless of the thing, and say, okay, how would I look at this and connect with this person from this, with respect, being open-hearted, having presence, and not abandoning myself. I think that's huge, right? Not
That's
n-
good.
not letting myself, go. Still
Yeah.
keeping the percentage of what I have, and because you have your feelings too. This is not absence of um feelings or impartiality or numbness, and just being able to take whatever someone can dish, right? Like, this is where the boundaries kind of start to set in. Like, okay, well, you can yell and you can get angry. Don't do it at me, right? You can be angry. That's perfectly fine. Or maybe we spoke about this a long time ago. Let's table this matter and let's come back to this in like 5 minutes if need be, right? So this is that holding, and you just did it a second ago when you spoke on it, right? Being able to hold and understand and reflect and be with it, be with the feelings and the strength of it, because love can be an overwhelming feeling, right?
Mm,
Love is one of those things that it was interesting that Joe Hudson did a experiment, and he says he always does this. He does these experiments where he tells someone, "Okay, be angry," right? Like access
mhm,
anger now. It's in the safe environment, and people can go on for. You basically got to tell them to stop, like 30, 45 minutes, because people will go back and say, "I'm angry at this that happened in my life, and this and then I can't. I just hate it when they did." Like we can always access that. And he's like, "Okay, great." He says, "Now." He says, access something pleasant, access love and joy. And he's like, after about 3 to 5 minutes, people like kind of run out of steam, like, whoo, I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? Because we're not
mhm,
normally used to accessing these pleasant emotions, these joy, joy or whatever it is that a person deems pleasant for an
mhm,
extended period of time. But guess how long you can carry a grudge?
mm,
Guess how long you can carry resentment to something? Like, guess how long you can carry, I don't want to call it hate, because hate is a really strong word, but people, whatever that is, that or as close to it is, like, look how long you can, it's been 3 years now. If I see him,
mm.
like, why, for 3 years. And we possibly do have the love and the joy, but do we recognize that? Are these are the like how are we processing that as well? Because we can have, it's so funny. We can have shame towards that. It's not the time or the place for joy. It's not the time or the place for happiness. It's not the time or the place for this or whatever it is, and that can turn into something else. I can ask me how I know, right?
How do
Like
you know? That's a whole nother show right
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's a whole other show, but man,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
finish
good.
up these thoughts, man. Community Beacon, y'all. A slightly new brand look. We're spending some time with that. I know the brother has a bunch of things going on as well. I think that may be worth an entire video if I could twist his arm to create one like that. Um, and just moving on and forward is my thoughts, brother. What do you? How do you want to end it?
Oh, man, I'd love for you to open up the screen of the YouTube channel that you showed me before screening so people can get a chance to see what has been created. I know that you all have been reaching us through the Mike Seville Facebook, as well as a few of the other channels, and also Tenacity Foundation and Instagram and things like that. But I really think that this is a beautiful opportunity. If you all will, those of you all who those of y'all who have followed us, and shout out to Kenyatta. It's her birthday
Yeah.
tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow's her birthday, Kenyatta
Uh-oh.
Conway. So shout out to you, Kenyatta. If you happen to watch this episode, I hope you get to minute 48 and change, and you hear us showing you some love for who you are to us, right? So check us out on YouTube. You can now put Community Beacon into Google search, and you can find us directly in our own YouTube channel. We're asking for you to go out there, subscribe, and comment because there's a direct connection there. You, all right. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
All right. Let me see if I could. I'm just messing around with this thing. Let me see what it does. All right, cool, man. Awesome episode, brother. This was deep. I think. Wow, man. Some of the stuff like I just wish for people to be able to experience like that those moments. You know what I mean? Or and possibly are experiencing those moments, but like to actually be in the moment, be present for it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can just allow these moments to just happen, and not give too much thought to it. But being experienced and having those moments, man, it's a beautiful thing. So love you guys. See you next week. Peace.